From UFOs to ghost and psychic powers, history is riddled with unexplained events. You can turn back now or learn the stuff they don't want you to know. Here are the facts. The Federal Reserve is one of the most important institutions in the United States. Through the management of currency and interest rates, the Fed attempts to keep banks secure. Since 1913, the Federal Reserve has conducted business constitutionally assigned to Congress. That's a lot of responsibility. Why does the Fed have it? In 1910, a group of international bankers left New Jersey with Senator Nelson Aldrich in a train headed for Jekyll Island. This was a gutsy move on Aldrich's part. After the Panic of 1907, associating with Wall Street was political suicide. They called it a hunting trip, but the real purpose of the meeting was the formation of laws to govern U.S. currency. This was a tricky proposition. Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution states that Congress should coin U.S. money. Additionally, the Founding Fathers condemned central banking. At Jekyll, the bankers and Aldrich created the core of the Federal Reserve Act. In one fell swoop, this act created the Fed and put it under the President's approval rather than that of Congress. In 1913, the Federal Reserve was born despite opposition and controversy. Critics say that allowing bankers to write financial laws is a conflict of interest. On the other hand, who knows more about banks than bankers? Today, the Fed calls itself a decentralized banking system. It's composed of 12 banks, each serving a different part of the U.S. These 12 are composed of other member banks. The Fed is unique in the legal world. It isn't owned by the U.S., and its leaders aren't elected by U.S. citizens. Officially, the Fed is owned by these member banks, but what does that mean exactly? Here's where it gets crazy. Many people believe the Fed is more than a mild-mannered group of bankers. They say it might be part of a plan to take over the world. These sources think a group of banking families have undertaken a conspiracy spanning generations with the goal of creating a worldwide feudal society. This is not a surprising accusation. After all, international bankers are one of the conspiracy world's favorite boogeymen. The Rockefellers and Rothschilds have been accused of thousands of conspiracies, from stealing UFOs to heading satanic cults. When conspiracy theorists talk about the bankers as a group, they usually refer to them as members of the Illuminati. You've heard of this group before, the shadowy puppet masters allegedly responsible for everything from the Cold War to crack cocaine. But if this group is so powerful, then why would it need a bank? Theorists say that untraceable money is the key. This way, the group can support both sides of wars and engineer catastrophes like the Great Depression. Conspiracy theorists think the elites manipulate the economy toward a breaking point. Once the system breaks, the group will supposedly create a one-world government. They're allegedly banking on the idea that distressed people throughout the world will welcome any kind of authority. If the Fed is aware of its negative image, it hasn't done much to correct it. Consider the Fed's apparent immunity in U.S. courts. Precedents set in other cases, such as the ruling preventing the NRA from conducting a government function, apparently don't set precedents that apply to the Fed. So why is the media hesitant to examine the Federal Reserve or the laws surrounding it? Is it too boring for prime time? Or is something else going on behind the closed doors of America's moneymakers? Something that they don't want you to know.